We're in recess here in the first day of the jury selection for the 6 defendants here in Nevada. Here's a handful of the supporters that are down here. They've been coming and going. We also got Skipper here. Things are looking real good today. I'll switch this camera back around here and talk to you guys. So things are going real good down here so far this morning. We've got rid of relieved about 30 potential jurors off the case this morning. We have about 42 that are being questioned as of yet. 4 of the defendants, including Todd Engel, have been asking the jurors questions to see if they still qualify. Todd Engel is representing himself in this trial, and he's done really well. Each one of the defendants are getting about 15 minutes to ask the potential jurors questions. And so far, every one of the jurors here, it's been totally an opposite reverse of Portland. These jurors, lots of them know the Constitution. They say they all uphold the Constitution. They know that they have a First and a Second Amendment right to either peacefully protest and carry arms. It's doing really good. I am really impressed. I think the others are really impressed also. They're doing good. Most of the jurors that have been dismissed, the majority of them were dismissed because of financial difficulties, family, work, medical issues. There were a couple that were dismissed that were obviously biased. One of them was actually a friend of the Bundys that he admitted that he'd known all of the Bundy family for a long time, but he felt that he ought to tell the court, and so he was dismissed because of that. There were a couple that were biased against the Bundys and the families and the people here, but overall we've had a really good section, good jurors, that potential jurors here. One of the things that is different here, the potential jurors have even mingled with us today. Come down and ask us questions. They have, they're not actually hidden and escorted in like they were there in Portland. Portland, the jurors were hid from us. We didn't know who they were. They kind of went into their room and they exited the building, hiding, so that we didn't actually get to talk to them. We even rode down in the elevator with some of these potential jurors. We obviously didn't ask questions or didn't talk to them or mingle that away with them. We don't want to tamper with the jurors, but we are mingling with them here. We have a lot of Homeland Security today, a lot of marshals. There's about 10 to 12 marshals at any given time in the room, in the courtroom itself, and another half a dozen or so outside the courtroom. We've got Metro Police down here today providing security. The counter-protesters have already left. They stayed for a couple of hours and took off. They didn't stay around. So
they didn't like it when we tried to educate them.
They didn't like them when Skipper said they didn't like it when we tried to educate them. There was only 3 actually counter-protesters. We were told there was dozens of them, but there was only 3 that showed up. 2 of them didn't even really know why they were here. Mr. Suckling was the only one, and he obviously didn't know why he was here either. So he didn't want to be educated into the truth. So it was an awesome morning so far. We've got 2 more defense lawyers that they are going to have questions for the jurors when we go back up there. And the defense team will have 15 more minutes of questions to ask them. It almost looks like today or maybe early tomorrow we will have a jury seated. So we might get into opening arguments yet this week. That's not 100% yet, so we're just praying that that's the case. It's going along pretty good. One other good point of interest, Todd Engel's representing himself. The prosecution had 5 objections to his line of questioning when he was asking the jurors question about if they should be a juror or not. Some of those questions were if they knew of the militia, had heard of any or supported any or was against any militia. The prosecution did not want that question answered. Todd Engel also asked some questions such as if they supported protesters, such as the women's rights to vote protest years ago, if they would support protesters in giving blacks or coloreds rights to vote, and several other issues that he brought up about protesters that had protested peacefully or even turned into violence in the past. And several of the jurors stated that they believe the government has made lots of mistakes in the past, passed lots of bad laws. These jurors getting a lot of honks out here from supporters, taxi cab drivers, truck drivers. It's been awesome out here today. This case is going to be great out here. This state, they're for ranchers. They're for the people's rights. And we're going to get it not guilty for these guys. These guys looked good today. They were all dressed in suits, all 6 of them. They looked like they had got cleaned up last night. And all of them was all smiles. And you can see it's a serious situation, but they were glad for the supporters. This courtroom has a lot more room than Portland. Portland, we was lucky to get 30 people into the courtroom. Here, you can get somewhere between 50, 60 supporters. So it's pretty awesome that there's a lot of seating room. We did have the courtroom packed this day, but we have plenty of room for more people to show up. It's easy to get in and out of the courtroom. Phones are not welcome in the courtroom at all, but you can take drinks, water. That's pretty awesome. They didn't restrict that today. Portland did not allow us to have any water or drinks. They even, at one point in Portland, they got all of us out of the courtroom to pat us down to see if we had a bag of Skittles in our pocket. So up here, it's not that same stressful situation for all the supporters. So I think that's a pretty good update of what we got. If anybody has any questions, ask some questions here, and we'll try to answer a few of them if I'm missing something. But I really, really feel good about this. I feel good about the potential jurors that we're going to get. This is going to be a totally different case here in Nevada, and we're going to win another not guilty. I haven't got any news on none of the guys in Portland as of this morning. I know a few of them were planning on pleading guilty to trespassing charges only, and that would have been Sean and Sandy Anderson, Dylan Anderson, and Daryl Thorne. I understood that Daryl Thorne had changed his plea again and was not going to plead guilty, but I'm not 100% sure if that's happened yet. I know he also missed his flight from Spokane over to Portland, so I've been praying for them. I know everybody down here has been praying for him too. Let me see if there's any questions. What's going on with Mumford's case? It's set for trial. So Mumford has 3 misdemeanor charges, and he's set for trial sometime in, I think it's March, but don't get me wrong. Some of these dates blend together, but it's either 1st of March or 1st of April. Dwayne is down there by himself. So I'll make some phone calls shortly and check on Dwayne and Jason Patrick and some of the guys down there. I don't know exactly what decisions were all made, but I know some of them were pleading guilty to trespassing charges. So it sounds like Kelly just made a report. I have had my phone off all morning. I've been in court, so I haven't got any updates from nobody just yet. I just came down out of the courtroom and came down here where everybody's standing along the street and giving you a quick update on what happened here. So probably later on the night I'll know more. Daryl posted he will not accept a plea. So that's awesome news, I think. Them guys are not guilty. We can win another not guilty verdict there also. Thanks, Robert Huffman. Good to see you here, brother. Yeah, we're praying for them all. Anna Brown needs to recluse herself off the case. That is exactly right. William Ferguson ordered us a bunch of pizza down here. We want to tell him thank you. He had it ordered down here, and he's feeding, I don't know, there's probably 30, 40 people down here. That's awesome. We really appreciate that, William Ferguson. It's great. There's a lot of people down here eating that pizza right now. They did get to shower and shave last night or early this morning, and none of the guys wore shackles today. So they didn't have any handcuffs on or feet cuffs, and they were all dressed in suits, and they looked really good. There you go, William. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for the pizza. See some people from Michigan here. Sheriff Mack. I seen a little video of Sheriff Mack and Chris Ann Hall. That brings me to another situation. They were asked, the jurors were asked a bunch of questions by the judge. Did they know Chris Ann Hall? She's not even part of this case that I know of, but they asked that question, and if they had known Chris Ann Hall, they were going to be removed from the jurors. Shauna Cox's name, Brianna Bundy, Michelle Fiore, her name was mentioned. If I can see Michelle's name may be mentioned because she might be a potential witness in this case. But Chris Ann Hall, seems like they're picking out people that aren't even really involved in the case and asking the jurors if they know these people. But no one seemed to know who she was, so nobody was kicked off the jury duty because of that. But a lot of names, they probably named off about 100 names. A lot of them I didn't even know. They did name off the 19 defendants, and then a few of the wives, like Brianna Bundy was mentioned for some reason. Deb Sanders, it'd be nice to see you down here tomorrow. Thanks for coming. Great to have all the support we can get. Daryl Thorne didn't make it because of his flight issues. That's what I've understood. Pete Santilli's trial will be 30 days after this trial is over with. Probably in April. We really don't have a good date yet. This trial potentially could last 8 to 10 weeks, we're told, but we're not 100% sure. It just depends on how this goes. A lot of the jurors that got relieved from duty here, they had that question because they don't think they can financially make it 10, 12 weeks, 8 weeks. See if there's any other questions here. One other point of interest that was up there in the courtroom today, Judge Brown said if we had not Judge Brown, I'm sorry, that's Portland, Oregon. But the judge on the stand today, she said that if we had a mistrial, this trial would be possibly put off till next year, a year away from now. So I felt like it was kind of a threat. It was intimidation on the guys that trying to make this thing happen here this time. But we do pray that it does not get a mistrial and go put off till next year. That would be a total misinjustice. We will have another update again right after tonight about 5 o'clock. Whenever we get out of court, we'll have you another update. We know that we will get a not guilty here this time. We can see that. Good afternoon. We're down here at the federal courthouse in Las Vegas this afternoon. We just finished up our very first day of jury selection, and we'll give you guys an update of what went on up there. I'll also try to give you an update from Portland. You could look at Kelly Stewart's updates over there. We had Sean and Sandy Anderson, Dwayne Emmer, and Dylan Anderson, and some of those that were over there in court this morning. And I know it was kind of a sad day for Sean and Sandy Anderson. They gave their statement, and if you look at Kelly Stewart's update there on Facebook, you'll get a little bit better update than what I can give you. They pled guilty to the trespassing charges, and all the other charges were dropped. I understand that Dylan Anderson also pled guilty to trespassing, and all the other charges were dropped. So we're all still praying for them and the rest of the defendants that are still facing trial coming up on the 14th. Here today, we brought in 50 potential jurors. 25 of those jurors were dismissed for different reasons today. For either hardship reasons, had family members that worked for police officers or other politicians and other involvements with Facebook or social media. One gentleman was actually, he reports for the media here in Las Vegas. He was dismissed mainly because he said that he could be possibly biased because he believes what he writes about the situations in the past and what he reads could potentially sway him to believe that one of the other parties could be wrong.
And his husband's wife, or husband's mother is dying.
So there's a lot of other details that surround with this guy. So we've got 25 potential jurors left. We're going to bring another 50 jurors in tomorrow. It's windy out here. We're trying to blow our camera stands all over. We've had a lot of wind out here today. So we're going to bring another 50 potential jurors in tomorrow. And they'll do them the same way they did today, ask them questions, try to decide which ones of those they're going to keep. They're trying to have at least 42 jurors before they stop trying to pick jurors. And then they'll decide out of those 42 jurors which ones will be the 12 that preside over this case. They're hoping tomorrow to be done with this. And Wednesday, starting into another phase of the trial. So we're hoping to. It's moving right along real quick. The guys all looked real good. They was all in suits, all 6 defendants. They had gotten cleaned up this morning for trial. I know everybody was concerned about them not getting showers and shaved for the last several days. And Eric Parker looked real good, Kelly Parker. He looked real good. He looked in good spirits. His lawyer was doing a great job. And anybody else have any questions? I'll try to watch for questions here and answer them as we go along. But all the guys looked really good. They really did. Todd Engel represented himself really well today. He asked questions professionally. He just did awesome. The prosecution didn't like his questions, so they objected to almost every single question that Todd Engel asked, but he done very well. The judge gave an order today that was very important for our case also. The judge is biased just like Anna Brown. She's just as evil, just a lot younger version, but she's just as biased. The judge gave an order today to one of the motions, and she granted the defense team the right to bring up all the stuff that the BLM done. This was a big move that the prosecution was trying to keep out of the court, and so we get to bring all these misconduct situations that the BLM and all the officers out there did. So that was another big win for the defense team.
Do you think that could have been because of the expose that recently came out?
It could be.
Because they're not going to be able to hide it. So.
No. They've been bringing out a lot of stuff about the BLM and Dan Love and his involvement with several situations that involved some misconduct on his part. And so the judge actually today granted their request, and so that's awesome news. Also, count 3, as we know, last Thursday was dropped against these guys. That gun charge alone was a 25 years maximum in prison. So a lot of good things are happening down here, and I think we're going to see a lot of good more things happening in Portland too. All the prayer and support that we're getting from everybody is awesome. Prayer really does work. We've seen that happen with the not guilty there in Portland, and we got a not guilty over there because of all of our prayers and support. So we're going to get the same thing down here. Pete Santilli's still sitting over in Prump. He's not a part of this first trial, so he's waiting trial after this one's over with. It'll be about 30 days. Once this one ends, they'll start the trial for Clive and Bundy and Pete Santilli and that next group. So we had a good day today. We're going to be back down here early in the morning. Court starts again at 8:30 in the morning, and we'll continue with jury selections. I appreciate everybody. I wish you guys were here too, Robert. We need more supporters down here. Ryan Payne, I visited him last Thursday in jail. He was looking real good, and so had a great visit with him. Ryan Payne's still out there in Pahrump also, awaiting trial. These guys should be released pending trial, but you know that so far this corrupt system hasn't granted that. So, but the more these lies come out, these guys will be free soon. They will all be set free. I feel strong in my heart, and I know the prayers and support of everybody, we're going to gain this. Again, thank you for joining. We'll be back here in the morning. We'll be here early, and we've got to be in court by 8:30. So we'll have you a live stream before we go in, and then one again at our lunch break. Thanks again, and God bless.